So you want to be a Dawn Warrior. So you want solar-powered energy, but also to harness the power of the moon. Well then, you've come to the right class. In the beginner tab, you'll see a lot of passives and actually an attack. Unlike many other beginner jobs, Cygnus actually has a mobbing skill for their beginner attack. Also, they have a flash jump, elemental shift, which you can actually jump vertically with it. If while in the air you press up and then jump, like you can just hold up and then press jump, you'll do a vertical jump, which goes really high, as you can see. But otherwise, if you just double tap it, it'll go left and right, depending on what, direction you want to go. So, I guess we'll talk about a little bit about the passives here. So, Empress's Blessing can go up to level 30, while Blessing of the Fairy only goes to 20. These do not stack, but they do, whichever one is highest, will work for the whole account. Or, for that server, I should say. So I play in Bara, so all of my Bara characters have 30 attack and magic attack just for being made. At level 150, you'll be able to get this to level 30. Because without this skill, it will only be stuck at level 24, I believe, giving you 24 attack and magic attack. But yeah, level 150 as a Cygnus Knight, just do a quest. I'll probably make a video on that if I figure out, how I did it. Because I don't remember. But yeah, level 150 you get a quest to get Noble Mind, and yeah, that'll make this level 30. You also get Echo Hero, level 200 skill. And Imperial Recall, which will teleport you back to a Reeve or a Rev, however you want to pronounce it. Elemental Harmony, increases your strength by 1 for every 2 levels that you have. Elemental Expert, increases your attack and magic attack by 10%. And the Link skill. So this Link skill isn't very useful, it's probably the worst one at the moment. However, KMS did realize this, and they decided to give it attack and magic attack, eventually. So this skill can only go up to level 2 for each, wait, can it go to level 3? Maybe you can go to level 3, actually. But anyway, you can combine this skill with the other versions of it. So there's 5 Cygnus Knights, so you can have 5 stacks of this skill, making it level 10. But I guess you can also get to level 3. Never knew that. But anywho. Yeah, so all it does is give you status resistance as well as elemental resistance. Like I said, it can be stacked 5 times. Moving on, and these will probably go fast just because... Oh, actually no, let me show you the beginner skill first. Because it actually has a lot of range on it. And it's really fast. So yeah, as you can see, lots of range, and it mobs. So yeah, amazing skill. And here's some mobbing. There you go. Only does 1 line, so it's not like the best, but if you're going to decide to become a beginner for like any class, definitely choose this one, because you actually have mobbing. Alright, so that's it for the beginner tab. Moving on to first job. By the way, do not max this skill. Max all 3 of these skills. I made a mistake and reset my skills, and I'm waiting for reset to be able to change it back. But anywho, triple slash. Just your typical first job mobbing skill. Not every class has a mobbing skill first job, but yeah, it's just a mobbing skill. Actually hits a little bit above you, like up here. So if you have like a platform above you, you can just like jump and hit it. Like if there were enemies right here, I could just jump and hit them. It's really nice. Soul Element. This skill will give you an 80% chance to stun enemies for 2 seconds. It also passively ignores enemy defense. Inner Voice, just your typical like attack, or not attack speed, typical like movement skill, but it also gives you 20% HP. Hand of Light gives you 20 attack, if you max it. So, second job is where things get interesting. Let me just show you triple slash real quick. So yeah, as you can see, I can hit platforms above me. This is actually my second time recording this. The first time I did, I reset everything, so I didn't get like any bonuses from other passives, but I was like, you know what, I need to get this video recorded today. So yeah, second job. Flicker. Now, these two skills... Oh, I already have it. Can only be used as long as you have a Falling Moon or Rising Sun activated. So basically that works for second job onward to like fourth job. Your skills can't be used unless you have Falling Moon or Rising Sun on. So I'm going to go ahead and put on Falling Moon. So Flicker will make it so that you dash through enemies. Also, let me put on Booster. There we go. So yeah, you'll dash through the enemies. You won't actually push them. You'll just go through them. And then Trace Cut, which is what is called in Moon Mode, hits behind you. So if you want to hit someone in front of you, you actually have to turn around in order to hit them. Why is it like this, you might ask? Well, because with Flicker, you go through them, and then you hit them when they're behind you. I guess that's what they want you to do, but honestly, if you're strong enough, you can just, like, run around doing this. Like, you could just do that. But yeah, I think what they meant for the class to do is, like, dash through and then hit them. I don't know. The Rising Sun version of that is a lot better, in my opinion, because you push the enemies and hit in front of you. So yeah, basic skills. Falling Moon increases your crit rate by 20%, as well as increases the number of attacks. I mean, when I tested it earlier, it did increase by 2 times, and that was without any other passives, because there is a passive that actually changes it to 2 times. But for some reason this says plus 2 times, so it sounds like it gives you 2 lines, but honestly, when I used Triple Slash, which only hits 3 times, it gave me 6 lines. So I'm pretty sure it still gives 2 times, even in second job alone, without the fourth job passive. But, you know, someone can correct me on that. The number of attacks that you do cannot go above 15. I guess that's the case for every class, really. And also your final damage is reduced by 60%. You can also not use it while using Rising Sun. Soul Speed is just your booster. That's all it is. Divine Hand, same thing as the first job passive, just gives you 20 attack. Sword Mastery is just mastery for one-handed and two-handed swords. Oh, I should also mention, you don't need to use one-handed swords as a Dawn Warrior. Because even though... Okay, so I'll put it this way. Two-handed swords as a Dawn Warrior already hits the damage cap. Or, damage cap? What? Attack speed cap. Well, if you use a green potion. So yeah, there's really no reason to use one-handed sword, unless your shield is so good that it makes up the multiplier difference between one-handed and two-handed swords. But, I mean, why do that when you could just use two-handed? Anyway, Inner Harmony increases your strength and dex, and that's it for second job. I mean, unless you guys want to see more mobbing, but I don't know. Second job mobbing, probably the worst for this class. First job mobbing is okay, second job is like, eh. Moving on to third job, though. Actually, before I put on that, let me... What was this? Okay, so that's that. And then cross. Put that here. Okay, so... What was it called? Moon Shadow hits all around you. And, of course, hits above you as well. And of course, since you're in Moon Mode, you're doing a lot of lines. The attack speed of it is pretty fast. Not that fast, actually. But yeah, the damage it does is wonderful, and it hits all around you. And then, of course, not that skill. And then, of course, we have the other skill, which was called Moon Cross, which will drag enemies to you, so it's easier for you to hit them with this. So, next we have Rising Sun, which will change your attack property, or your stance. As you can see, the moon has it, like, pointing backwards. Rising Sun will have you point your sword, you know, upward. And this will change all of your skills from second job to fourth job. So instead of Flicker, it's now called Buster. That is not the skill. I'm messing everything up. Okay, so Buster will now push enemies. Instead of having you dash through them, it'll now push them. and then the skill before that hit behind you now hits in front of you, and it's pretty fast actually. Here, let me put that on. There you go. It's really fast. Alright. Let's put that back on. So, Light Merger, which used to be the blue attack that hit all around you, now only hits one enemy while you're in Sun mode. But it does a lot of damage. So it's really good if you have like an elite monster spawn or something. Really good for that. Sun Cross, instead of pulling enemies, it now pushes enemies away. So I'll use it up here. So yeah, it now pushes enemies away. Not sure why that's useful, but yeah. So, actually talking about Rising Sun now. Rising Sun will increase your final damage by 15% and increase your attack speed by 1 stage, or by 1. Cannot be used with Falling Moon, but 4th job, believe me, it gets good. True Sight. This is a debuff, and for enemies that are hit with it, they have 10% reduced enemy defense, as well as they take 5% extra damage. Or final damage, actually. Wow. I didn't even know that part. I thought it was just damage. Probably changed. So. Soul of the Guardian, passive skill, increases your HP and defense. Will of Steel increases your status and abnormal status, as well as recovers 5% HP every 4 seconds. And then another passive, Inner Voice, just increases your attack and strength. 4th job. Now this is where I just love this class. Also, let me put back on that 2nd job skill. Here we go. Oops. Alright. So, 4th job. You get Call of Cygnus, which I actually made a video earlier today explaining how to get it. But yeah, you have to be level 120 and then do a quest, which is really short. Speeding Sunset. So this is your bossing skill. As you can see, it's very fast. However, it has a moon version, which is this. And, I mean, moon version is technically better, just because of the amount of lines, and it is just really pretty. But, as you saw, in sun mode, I would just jump. It makes you jump on, like, by itself. So that can be kind of annoying, but I'll show you some ways to avoid, well, not really avoid it, but remedy that. But yeah. Solar Pierce is your main mobbing skill. Did I already say this is your main bossing skill? Well, anyway. Main mobbing skill. You just, like, poke your sword forward. And then in moon mode, you hit all around you, with, of course, a lot of lines because of your being in moon mode. Really nice. And, you know what, I'm gonna move on to it now because I can't wait. So, Equinox Cycle. This makes it so that you have both sun and moon. And it is wonderful. It'll automatically switch you between the two. So I'm using one skill. I'm only using, you know, this skill right here. And it's automatically switching me between the two. The same goes for every other skill that's from second job onward. So it'll just automatically switch you. You can also see which mode you're in by looking at the top right up here. And yeah, that's just amazing. Let's see. So yeah, then your mobbing turns into this, which gives you both the amount of lines as well as the power and attack speed, and it's just beautiful. Impaling Rays. So this skill is your, you know, typical bind skill. Binds enemies for 10 seconds. But after those 10 seconds are up, it'll then do 850% damage to the, you know, enemies that were bound. Alright, so next is Equinox Slash. And there's the lines. Or the damage. So Equinox Slash, you can only use it in the air, and you can only use it while you have Cycle on. Which is, you know, the skill that makes you use sun and moon at the same time. So what it does is it'll teleport you, as long as you're in the air, to one direction. The cooldown is 5 seconds, but it is an amazing escape option, especially because your bossing skill makes you jump, and you don't really have many options to escape. I mean, I guess you can flash jump or something, but that takes a while. So what they did to remedy that is they gave Dawn Warrior a dash in the air. So as you're attacking, you can just dash out of danger. And because it does pretty good lines and good damage, it's a really good escape option because it just does damage. Like, it's really nice. Soul Pledge. Passive gives you knockback resistance and crit rate and all that all-stat stuff. Mastery, typical mastery. 50 attack, crit damage 15%. Unpredictable is your typical like defense ignore skill, where it gives you ignore defense as well as boss damage. And then Master of the Sword. This will make it so that Moon now gives you 2 times skills, which again I don't understand why the other skill said +2 when it was actually ×2. And then it also gives you 35% crit rate, as well as final damage, what did it say? Reduction 90%. Not sure exactly what that means. I think it was explained in my previous So You Want to Be Dawn Warrior video, but I forgot by now. Rising Sun now increases final damage by 25% and gives 2 attack speed. And then of course the attack is increased by 45. So that is 1st through 4th job. Let's move on to... Actually, let's talk about hyperstats. So at 140 you get access to hyperstats, as well as hyper skills, but I'll talk about that after. With hyperstats, I kind of just care about damage, and then after damage, if I need it, I could put in crit rate, and then crit damage, then boss damage if I'm bossing. But the ones that I really care about are just these, like crit rate, crit damage, ignore defense, damage, boss damage, and attack. Those are the ones that I really care about. But in terms of order, I usually do damage first, and then if the class needs it, I do either crit rate or sometimes attack, although attack's not actually that great. But it really depends. But yeah, damage is probably the most important to me. There is actually a spreadsheet kind of thing that you can use that will tell you the best way to optimize your hyperstats. But just for me, I do damage, and then crit rate if needed, then crit damage, then boss damage, then attack, and then ignore defense. Because ignore defense is really just for endgame bossing kind of stuff. Anywho, hyper skills or hyper passives. I do the main bossing skill. I did all 3 to increase its damage, boss damage, and ignore defense. For the mobbing skill, I increase the number of lines, and then sometimes I don't put this on, the increased damage, because sometimes I just want to ignore more enemy defense. So it's up to you whether you want to do more damage on your mobbing skill, or you want to boss more and I guess ignore enemy defense more or something. But after you have like 90% or more, you don't really need this, unless you want to help your party. Next we move on to active hypers. Soul Forge is just a buff. It has no cooldown, you can just use it. And it's a free 50 attack. It's nice. Styx Crossing. So this is a charge skill, and it ignores damage reflect as well as weapon cancel. So if the boss is like making you only hit ones, or it's doing damage reflect, you can just charge this up. If you want to cancel the charge, use any skill aside from flash jump. So it charges up and turns red. Once it's red, it does a lot of damage. Also has really good reach as well. Oh, I see that girl all over the place. Probably because she's always in channel 16 like I am. But yeah. Anything else I want to talk about with that skill? I think that's it. Glory of the Guardians. If you have other Cygnus Knights in your party, you can buff their damage by 10%, as long as they're a Cygnus Knight. And it also stacks with other Cygnus as well. Alright, so I think it's time we move on to 5th job. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and show you the other 5th job skills. There's actually a glitch right now if you pass, I think it was this house, you disconnect. So don't do that until they fix it. Alright, so I'm going to go to the Node Master and show you the 5th job skills. So we have Phalanx Charge, which just has the birds hold spears out and then charge in a certain direction. You can press the skill again to have it change direction. Does pretty good damage. Definitely great addition to your damage. Weapon Aura. This is getting changed eventually, but right now, the attack that spawns it will make it so that it does that same amount of lines, but it like shoots out. It shoots out of you and does, you know, same amount of lines of the skill that summoned it. I'll show it in a second. Let's see. Oh, and then Impenetrable Skin. So this skill makes it so that super knockback will not knock you back. So even though Dawn Warrior has 100% knockback resistance, that's not enough to resist like Magnus's spin attack or Lotus's push attack. Those are super knockback skills. Alright, so let me go ahead and show you what I meant by Weapon Aura. When you activate it, every 4 seconds, it'll spawn a that thing, and it'll just do extra damage. Really good if you're bossing. Alright, so Celestial Dance. This skill will make an after image of you, basically like Shadow Partner. So whenever I use, let's say, a Sun skill, then a Moon skill will come out. And if I use a Moon skill, then a Sun skill will come out. And this just makes for amazing mobbing and bossing. You can also see that a Sun explodes. There's also a Moon version of it, which should be coming out soon. No? There it is. So yeah, Moon gets cut in half and then does extra damage as well. So, really good, really strong. Dawn Warrior definitely got amazing 5th job skills. Next we have Rift, and this makes it so that Styx does not have a cooldown. So you can just spam it. No cooldown whatsoever. You can also create portals, which if you hit them enough times, they'll explode. Or shatter, I should say. Also takes a lot of MP. But yeah, this is amazing. This is really good. Really good mobbing, really good bossing. Again, ignores damage reflect, as well as weapon cancel. So, super good. Anything else I should mention with this skill? Oh yeah, it reduces the damage by 50% of 6 crossing. I think that's all I want to mention about that skill. Everything else I guess you can just read. So next is Soul Eclipse. Now, at first glance, this skill is overpowered. You basically summon the sun, and it just continuously damages enemies in your screen. You also have invincibility when you use it. Well, I mean, it only lasts like a few seconds, the invincibility. But if you press the skill again while this little buff here is activated, it'll explode the sun and give you a little bit of invincibility, dealing a lot of damage. So you get invincibility when you first activate it for like, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds or so. And then when you explode the sun, you also get another 3 seconds of invincibility. Actually, does it say how much invincibility it gives? Nope, just says invincible during casting. I want to say like 3 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds of invincibility. But you can use it twice, like one time to get invincibility for summoning the sun, and then another for exploding the sun. And that's about it. I mean, pretty sure I've gone over everything I want to. Let's see. Oh, I should mention this class is a ping-reliant class, so if the servers are lagging or you have high ping, you will not... You'll either get the same attack twice, so like, instead of switching between sun and moon, sometimes you'll just get like the moon attack twice, or sometimes you get the sun attack twice. But if the servers are good and you have good ping, you should be able to switch between the two, like, consistently. Let's see, anything else to mention? Oh, this class loves to take your MP, so I would highly recommend, that is the wrong thing, highly recommend that you get a Junior Boogie Familiar. You can get them from... Great. You can get them from Perion. I'll show you the exact map. And this is just useful information for everybody. For every class. Unless your class doesn't use MP. Alright, so from Perion, go into the portal over here. On the left, why is that over there? That should be over here. So go into this portal over here. And just kill Junior Boogies. It has a very low, or very high drop rate. So just kill a few of them. Alright, it might be because of my level, it's not dropping as much, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, there's one, just get 3 of them, and you'll not have to worry about having MP potions. It's also only level 15, so yeah, you can just use it forever. It's a really good familiar, recommended on any class that has MP. And I think that is it. I already showed mobbing, how about I show some bossing? Oh, you know what? I forgot to take off my Legion. So I'm gonna have more crit than usual. Well, anyway. So let's go ahead and show you the bossing. He'll probably die before everything is done. So let's activate this, activate that, and then activate this. So now we can just spam this skill, and he'll be dead very soon. Let's go ahead and activate the debuff. Oh, and while using this skill... Oh, let me blow up the sun first. So while using this skill, the sun and moon can explode. So even though I'm not using, you know, skills that involve the sun and moon, this will still activate the effect. However, I'm not sure about this, but maybe it is better to just use the 2 5th drop skills separately. Because one of them gives you Shadow Partner, and Shadow Partner doesn't work with this. So, like, you can't have this slashing while your Shadow Partner does that. I mean, you still get the explosions, though. But, like, would it be better to just... I don't know, use the main mobbing skills? Or, bossing skills? Because you get Shadow Partner. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do some testing on it. But for now, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you in the next video. And, yeah. Goodbye. I'll probably be live after I upload this.